Hi everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the MyMuddlings video podcast. So this is pretty exciting. My name is Julieanne, I'm your host, and I'm recording today in Adelaide, South Australia, which is where I live, and I'm pretty excited to be trying this new type of podcast. I do watch a lot of video podcasts, some of my favourites, so I thought, seeing I'm not exceptionally good at describing things myself, I thought having the video medium might actually help me to describe the things that I'm working on, and I thought it would be a good thing to try and see what you guys think. So I can be found online in lots of different places. I am on Ravelry first and foremost, and my username on there is Anne of Julie, so ANNEOFJULIE, and I'm also on Instagram at that same handle. I have a blog, which is a little bit abandoned just at the moment. Really want to get back into that because I do enjoy writing, and that is found at www.mymuddlings.com. The show notes for the vidcast are available at www.mymuddlingspodcast.wordpress.com, so you can find me over there. Where else? I do have an Etsy shop for my project bags, and that can be found at www.etsy.com/shop/mymuddlings. So yes, so maybe we can just get started. I don't know how this is all going to work. I've never actually done any movie editing or anything like that before, so this is all going to be a bit of an adventure. So I thought I might start today. I'm actually wearing something that I've made. This sweater that I'm wearing is, you probably can't see it really well, but I will put a link to my project page in the show notes. This is the cabled leaves sweater, by Alana Dacos. She's one of my favourite designers, and I just love this sweater. I really like this V-neck detail with the crossover cable in the front. I think it's really pretty. So what I might get onto is start off with what's off the needles. Just 2 nights ago I finished this item. I finished a pair of socks. So these are knit from Knit Picks Hawthorn in the confetti, the confetti speckle colourway. So I've got them there on my sock blockers. These are part of knit-alongs, 2 knit-alongs actually that I'm participating in this year, which are both sock knit-alongs. The first one is the Box of Socks Cowl, which is being run by Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast. These are my 6th pair, because we're up to June for that. And also the Just One More Row 12 in 16 knit along, which is also a podcast, Just One More Row. So yes, so I've got my 6th pair of socks for this year, which is I actually knit 8 pairs I think this year, but only 6 that qualify for the knit-alongs. So these were knit on 9-inch circulars. That's my preferred method for socks, and that's a 2.5mm needle, and I knit these toe up. I have previously been very much a cuff down sock kind of girl, and since I tried this particular heel pattern, I've actually found that I prefer the fit of these. I used to prefer like the heel flapping and gusset type of sock. I've now sort of decided there's still a gusseted sock. I don't know if you can quite see on the white yarn, got dog hair all over it. But yeah, these are toe up, and then you increase, and then you do it makes like a triangular heel that goes back into then in the round, and I really like this type of pattern. I originally found this heel in Liz Sedmak's Time Traveller's Socks pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry, and that's it's got ribbing in it, but these ones are just, I call them my vanilla speckle, or my vanilla confetti, on Ravelry, just because ribbing can get a bit annoying after a while. So I just prefer to knit round around. So yeah, they're my vanilla confetti socks. Sorry about that, just a little bit of a break. I just wanted to check and make sure that the video was working because I didn't actually test before I started recording a podcast. It's probably a good thing for me to keep in mind for the future. Just double check that things are working right. Anyway, it appears to be working okay. I'm hoping that I'm speaking loud enough because I'm recording this on my iPod. I do actually have a Canon DSLR camera, and I was trying to record on that, but I was getting very confused with all of the settings and things. I'm not terribly knowledgeable about using the DSLR, so I kind of gave up on that, and I thought it'd be easier to use the iPhone. I apologise. So yes, that's what I'm doing. So now that I've told you what I've finished recently, I might go on to whips. If you've been listening to my audio podcast, you'll know that I tend to have a lot of whips going at the same time. I'm trying to stop doing this because I actually find it quite stressful to have all of those things on the needles and to have the pressure of, oh, I've got to finish that. Oh, I don't really want to work on it. But I've kind of got to get past that. Because I don't get anything done because I just do a little bit on this and a little bit on that and then nothing actually gets done. So let's talk about what's on the needles. First and foremost, this will probably be a finished object by the time I make my next podcast. This is the cropped sleeve cabled turtleneck sweater, and it's a pattern by Patons, and you can see it's got the cables there on the front. I've already done the sleeves and I'm just knitting up my neck now. I think this is the last round that I need to do before I increase and then knit to the end, and then once that's cast off I'm done and I can wear it, which I'm very much looking forward to, because I've been finding lately, now that winter is really set in here in Australia, I'm finding that wearing my cardigans, my front's getting really cold, so I've been wearing my sweater quite often, and I just wanted another one that I can wear. So yeah, this is being knit on 4.5mm needles. I've just got a 17-inch, I think, circular here working on the neck, and I used a 32-inch to knit the body. I adapted the pattern to knit in the round because I just didn't really feel like seaming it. So yes, I've knit this one in the round, and it seemed to work quite well. I think my back is just slightly, because obviously once I get to the armholes I had to split and knit the front and back separately. I think the back might be just a smidge shorter, but that's not a big problem because I am a busty girl, so it doesn't matter. The front can sit up a little bit, it'll still look fine. So I'm knitting this from Knit Picks again, but this is Wool of the Andes, which is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. This is the worsted base. So yes, this was in the colourway Mist, and I'm really looking forward to having this one to wear shortly. It'll be good. Keep me warm. Another project that'll probably be a long-term project is I'm working on a hand-spun Vivid blanket. Now this pattern is by Tin Can Knits. You've probably heard of it. It's been knit many times. So I'm working on my squares at the moment. So that's one of my squares there. Now these were all, I don't think they're really classified as minis, but they were from the Kaylee fibre packs that you can get from Hilltop Cloud Fibre in the UK. Comes from Wales, and it comes in, I think it's 8 different colours in the pack, and I had 2 packs, so I had 2 little skeins of each colour. I've only really worked on 3 colours just for the moment, so I've got the pink, the blue and the purple. So they're a lot of fun to do. They're very quick. I can sit and knit them at night in front of the TV. This one I started last night while watching Game of Thrones. My husband's got me onto Game of Thrones. I'm a little bit behind everybody else. We've just started season 4, I think. Just after the Purple Wedding. My husband called it the Purple Wedding, so if you were a Game of Thrones fan, you might know about that. Yes, so I've been knitting these on, these are Knit Picks Caspian needles, a 4mm size, and I really enjoy knitting on these needles. They're very smooth, they're quite light, and being wood, they feel quite warm, they're quite nice. So I would like to eventually replace all of my DPNs with Caspian or even the New Majestic, because my favourite colour is purple. The New Majestic wooden needles. So there's my little ball of my hand spun yarn there. It's approximately a fingering weight, which is what one of the sizes for the blanket is fingering weight wool. It has quite a few different sizes, I think. So that's what I'm working on there, and the last thing that I'm really focusing on at the moment is actually a spontaneous gift for my niece. I really enjoy making things for my niece because she's just adorable. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show any photos of this finished of her because my sister and her husband have decided that they don't want to have any photos of her on the internet, which I think is fair enough. But I can show you what I'm making her so far. This is also an Alana Dacos pattern, and it was from her brand new book, which is Baby Botanicals. And I have both of her botanical knits books. I've knit probably, I think, 2 or 3 sweaters out of those. And one of my favourite patterns from that was called Bare Branches, and it's like a sweater jacket. It sort of just buttons up across the bust and then kind of flows out in an A-line. It's quite long, comes down below my bum, and it's got a hood. And I love wearing it, it's very warm. And it's got this wonderful cabled tree on the back, and depending on what size that you have, mine's a little bit big so it doesn't quite work that way, but you can actually hide the tree behind the hood, which is really sweet. So when you pull the hood up, you can see the tree on the back. So when Alana was previewing of the patterns for her Baby Botanicals book, she had a baby size of the Bare Branches, which is called Baby Branches, I believe. So that's what I've been working on. So this is it here. You can see I've just started doing the tree branches on here. I'll see if I can insert a photo in the B-roll of the actual jumper all finished, and you can see it. But this is just from some Bendigo Woolen Mills classic wool that I bought. I bought it in the almond colourway, so it was nice and plain, and I've actually hand dyed this yarn myself. So it's not quite what I was expecting. I am a new-ish dyer, so my results aren't always what I expect. And I found that the way that I learnt to dye was to add the acid to your dye. And so with this yarn here, I've got the skeins here, you can have a look. You can see they're a little bit inconsistent is probably the right word, and when I put the dye in the pot with the 4 skeins of yarn, it grabbed straight away because of the acid. The dye attacked my yarn and dyed it straight away, leaving these, like the bits that it contacted first took all the dye and the other bits were left undyed. So that was a bit disappointing. So it's actually had a couple of layers of dye, because then I added more to try and cover up the bits, and then yeah, it didn't quite work how I was expecting. So it's a little bit darker than I wanted. But now that I'm knitting it up, I actually really don't mind the splotchiness. I think it's working okay. I'm still deciding whether I want to alternate skeins, and if I do, I'm going to rip this out But I don't know if it really matters. Looking at it back on the camera like this, it appears quite splotchy, but I think it works. I think it's okay. I think it'll be fine. Amelia won't know. So that's what I've currently got on my needles. Now I am a spinner, as implied by my hand spun blanket, and I've got 2 braids actually on the go at the moment, plus another larger project. And the first one that I have, I'll have to insert photos in the B-roll so you know that what I'm talking about. The first one is I started actually just last night. It's some 3 Waters Farm 100% Targi fibre, and it's called the Long View is the colourway, and it's a lot of like collection of purples and blues and sort of burgundy and a little bit of grey I think in there as well. I'm just spinning it just worsted as fine as I can. I'm finding that Targi wants to be a little bit fatter in the singles than what I can get out of a merino, which is fine. But I'm enjoying that one. The fibre was a little bit felted, I found. I do have 2 more braids and I'm not sure whether they'll be the same. So I sort of wasn't expecting that, especially for the price point of the fibre, to find it a little bit felted, but it is spinning fairly easily, so I'm not really that worried. And the colours are really beautiful, so that should be nice. I'm actually spinning it in a sort of, I guess you could probably still call it a fractal method. So I've split the whole braid in half, so we had 2 halves, and then I'm spinning 1 half from that one, like 1 bobbin from 1 half of fibre, and then I've split the other half into 2, so we'll have shorter colour runs because I'll just spin them one after the other. So I'm hoping that'll break up a bit of the, I don't really want it to stripe, by having, you know, the same colour plied next to each other, so it'll break it up a little bit. So that one should be pretty. They're all my favourite colours, blue, grey, purple. You can see from the background I've got a blanket and a shawl there. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that one. Now the other one that I'm spinning is one that I dyed myself just yesterday. I hand painted it. That one is very felted. That's my inexperience at dyeing fibre, but that's okay because I'm still being able to spin it, and it's actually coming out fairly fine for being felted. This one I actually dyed. I had inspiration from one of my favourite fibre dyers that I love to purchase from, and that's Kathy's Fibres, and she's actually in South Australia. She lives up in the hills. So she's really fun to order from because you usually get your fibre within a day or 2, which is great for my instant satisfaction heart. I don't like to have to wait for things. So she dyed some fibre. It was a limited edition that she did, and it was called Winterfell, which if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know that that's where the Starks lived. I don't know how it is right now in the show, but at where it is now, it's completely destroyed. And it was a colourway that was based on the cherry tree that they have at Winterfell. And so the colourway was, I guess you could call it a gradient, but it wasn't really. It's not all one colour, it's 4 different colours. And it started off black, went to sort of a purple, and then to a burgundy, and then to like a white with pink splotches in it. And unfortunately, like I said, this was a limited edition. I think she did 2 of them on 2 different bases. I think one might have been alpaca and the other one was BFL. And by the time I saw it, it was already sold out, so I couldn't get it. And so I thought, well, I have dyes, I have fibre, why don't I try and replicate? And I did okay. It's not perfect. I tried to hand paint the fibre, which I think is what created some of the felting. so that's not ideal. But I did do some research while it was cooking actually, on a better way where you can actually dip it in the different jars and it will just wick up to the bits that aren't in the jars. So I might try that next time. But I think apart from the purple colour and the black not being black, it's fairly close. I think I picked the colours fairly well. So that's half done. I'm just doing a 2-ply yarn, and I'm going to I'm spinning them both from the black end through to the white end, so then I'll ply them and hopefully the colours will line up fairly well. I don't mind if there's a little bit of overlap, but I don't want to have, you know, massive amounts of the wrong colour, but I'm hoping that will work out really well. I'll pop a picture in the B-roll of my braid and of my inspiration as well, so you can see what I was trying to achieve. The only other thing that I'm really working on is a long, like a big project spin, and that's from some Bendigo Woolen Mills Ready Spin fibre, and they come in big 1 kilo bags, and they're quite reasonably priced, which is really good. And this is the Tea Rose colourway. I'll put some pictures in the B-roll of skeins that I've already finished, and my swatch, maybe I have swatched some, and that's for the Citadel Cardigan, which is by Heath Locatelli. I'm sure you've heard of her. And this is a beautiful, very long cardigan with like cabled, I think they're arrow sort of cable motifs, and it's got big shawl collar, and I just really like the idea of having a massive hand spun cardigan. So I finished another bobbin of that the other day, and yeah, so I'm doing that 3-ply though, like a traditional 3-ply, and so I'm going to need 3 bobbins per skein. So I sort of got sick of it because it's mostly one colour. It is heathered. It does come out heathered, but I think I'm finding, whereas I like to knit for myself mostly solid colours, I do prefer to spin multicoloured braids, which is okay. That's fine, so long as I pick my colours. That's probably okay. So I thought maybe, seeing I'm talking about fibre, I got a package today from Kathy, and I thought maybe what I do as part of this first episode is to have a bit of an unboxing of my package. I haven't actually opened it yet. It's here next to me. She has a cute little sheep on her label there, which is quite sweet. So, sorry for the crinkling, but can't be avoided. I'm going to show you some pretties. Alright, let's see what we've got here right on top. Now, these aren't specifically my colours, but I know I'm going to enjoy spinning this up, and it's beautiful. I've seen other people spin this. This is by Vineyard. So, you know, you've got your blues, you've got your purples, which are both my colours, which I love. The green, not so much, but with the others in the braids that I've seen, it does tone down. It does look a bit more blue and purple overall. So that's my first one there. Lovely. What's next? Okay, this one is, I know this one because I have actually already spun some of this when I very first started spinning. Now this one's called Heath. It's the Heath colourway. So you've got lots of blues and browns in there. I used to wear a lot of brown, but I've kind of gone off brown. But the blue I definitely want, definitely like. And I actually used my other very, by my standards now, quite poorly spun skein to knit a hat for my dad. And because I kidded myself, beginner spinner, that it was worsted weight, it was actually probably more like a bulky weight, and I knit him a hat and it was too big. And I kind of really can't face pulling it apart and re-knitting that same yarn, so I bought another braid and I'll spin this up and knit him a hat that actually does fit. Next I have, oh, this is the red flowering gum, very, very pretty. So red really isn't my colour either, or green. But this also it tones down really, really nicely. There's little bits of purple in there as well. Tones down really nicely when it's spun. So that's that one. What else? This is Gem Tree. Now this is definitely my colours. All the blues and purples, even the aqua. I quite like teal and aqua as well. A little bit of red to spice it up, and pink. So that's Gem Tree. And then this one is way out. It also looks beautiful when it's spun. And this is Stained Glass. So there you go. There's my package from Kathy. I've got some spinning to do. It's pretty exciting. So I think, just to finish up, I think I will talk about other skeins. Now I've shown you these ones, the ones that I dyed, and at the same time, sorry, just have to reach, they've gotten out of my reach. I dyed up some yarn to make another sweater from the Baby Botanicals book for my niece, and I'm going to do the early autumn, I think it's called, and I dyed up this yarn. So it's a burgundy, and this one worked much better because I put the salt and the citric acid in with the yarn in the pot, and then I added the dye later. So no, the other way around, sorry. I put the dye in first and then let that sit and circulated it for a bit, and then I added the citric acid. So that's made that. They're much more consistent. They've got that real tonal hand-dyed look to them, and I really, really was pleased with these. So it's all a learning process and now I know how to get better the result that I want, which is good. So I think that will do me for today for the first episode. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to edit this now and include the two videos together. My husband, I think, knows how to do that, so he'll probably have to give me a hand, even though I'd be dreadfully embarrassed for him to watch me on the video. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Hopefully next time will be a little bit more organised and a bit more in practice, I guess, at doing this thing in front of the camera, which is so very strange. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Please head on over to Ravelry, where there is a board for the MyMuddlings podcast. Please come and say hi. I'd love to hear from you, and you know, give me some feedback, see what you think. So I've really enjoyed this time, and thank you so much for joining me. Please catch me next time.